Hello and welcome to Book Insights, your trusted space for timeless wisdom, one book at a time. Today we dive into a book that's not just read, it's lived. It's called Infinite Self, 33 Steps to Reclaiming Your Inner Power by Stuart Wilde. Now, don't be fooled by the word power. This isn't about ego, domination, or control. This is about a quieter, deeper force, the infinite self, that part you untouched by fear, untamed by society, and fully aligned with the divine. Wilde gives us 33 simple yet profound steps. These aren't commandments. They're invitations to think differently, to feel more freely, and to reclaim what you may have forgotten, your essence. So, let's journey through these 33 steps. Take a breath and listen closely. And the very first step is bold, almost shocking. It's called, I am God. Now wait, before you scroll away, hear this out. Stuart Wilde isn't telling you to claim the throne of heaven. He's not saying you're God in the religious sense. He's saying this, deep inside you, beneath the thoughts, the doubts, the fear, and even the personality you've built over time, there's something eternal, something divine, a spark of the infinite. You're not just a human being trying to survive. You're a spiritual being, having a human experience. Let's break it down. Think about it. Your body changes. Your thoughts change. Your emotions rise and fall. But there's something inside you that's always watching, always aware. That calm observer? That's your infinite self. Wilde says, when you fully accept that this part of you is real and eternal, you stop living small. You stop begging for approval. You stop doubting your worth. You stop thinking, I'm just one person. What difference can I make? You begin to live with quiet confidence. What does I am God really mean? It means you are connected to the same energy that creates everything. The trees, the oceans, the stars. That same creative force runs through you. You don't have to go somewhere to find it. You don't need someone else to give it to you. It's already there. You simply have to remember, why is this step important? Because most of us were raised to feel powerless. We're told we're flawed, that we need saving, that we must work hard to earn love, success, and meaning. But Wilde flips that on its head. He says, you are already powerful. You were born worthy. The real task? To unlearn the lies and step into your true identity. Try this simple shift. Tomorrow morning, before the world gets noisy, just sit for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and silently say to yourself, I am infinite. I am powerful. I am part of the divine. You don't need to believe it right away, but say it anyway. Over time, your mind will catch up with your soul. One last thought. Wilde isn't asking you to walk around acting superior or saying you're God out loud. He's asking you to walk around with your head a little higher, to face challenges knowing you have the strength of the universe inside you. It's not about arrogance. It's about remembrance. So that's step one. I am God, not because you're above others, but because you're finally seeing yourself for who you truly are. A spark of the infinite, a piece of the divine, a being of light, waking up. Now, we take the next step in Stuart Wilde's journey toward your infinite self. Step 2, expanding your awareness. What does that really mean? It means seeing the world through new eyes. It means realizing that there's so much more going on than what we normally notice. Let's begin. Awareness isn't just what you see. Most of us go through the day like we're on autopilot. We wake up, check our phone, brush our teeth, go to work, scroll, eat, sleep. But awareness is different. It's presence. It's that quiet part of you that watches everything. Not just the outside world, but also your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, your energy. Stuart Wilde invites us to step out of the routine and into the moment. Here's a simple example. Imagine you're standing at a bus stop. Most people are fidgeting, looking at their phones, or lost in thought. But you take a deep breath. You look up, you notice the clouds, the wind brushing your face. You sense the people around you, their mood, their movement. Suddenly you feel alive. That's awareness. It's being awake inside the moment. Why is this so important? Because power lives in the now. You can't change the past. You can't control the future. But right now, you can choose how you respond. You can choose what you focus on. You can choose what energy you put into the world. Wilde reminds us, expanding your awareness gives you back your freedom. It's not just about observing the outside. It's also about listening to what's happening inside you. Have you ever walked into a room and felt something was off? Even if no one said a word? That's awareness. Have you ever ignored your gut feeling and later regretted it? That's awareness too, asking for your attention. Here's a simple practice. Today, take 5 minutes, just 5, and sit in silence. No phone, no distractions, just you and the present moment. Notice your breath. Feel your body. Watch your thoughts pass by like clouds. At first, it might feel boring or uncomfortable, but stay with it. You'll begin to see something deeper, a quiet wisdom, a sense of peace, a connection to your infinite self. A final thought. We live in a world that constantly pulls us outward. Ads, news, notifications. Everything wants our attention. But the more you turn inward, the more powerful you become. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it. You stop being a passenger and become the driver of your experience. That's what expanding your awareness really means. So that's step 2, expand your awareness. Start small. Look around. Look within. Be curious. Be still. And you'll begin to notice magic in the most ordinary moments. We've already taken 2 important steps with Stuart Wilde. Step 1 reminded us that we are divine. Step 2 invited us to open our eyes and expand our awareness. Now we reach step 3, the courage to go beyond. Let's take a deep breath and step in. What does it mean to go beyond? It means to go beyond what's comfortable, beyond what's safe, beyond what the world tells you is normal. It means stretching past the limits you didn't even realize were there. You see, we all live inside invisible walls. Walls made of old beliefs, of fears we inherited, of labels we've accepted. Stuart Wilde says, to reclaim your infinite self, you must be willing to step past those walls into the unknown. And that takes courage. Let's be honest, change is scary. Even when we know something isn't working, we often stay where we are. Why? Because it's familiar. It's easy. It's what everyone else is doing. But comfort is not the same as peace. Wilde challenges us. Do you want to be normal, or do you want to be free? Going beyond might look like this. Saying no to a toxic relationship, even if you're afraid of being alone. Leaving a job that drains you, even if you don't have a clear backup plan. Speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. Starting something new, even if no one believes in it yet. This isn't about being reckless. It's about being brave. Brave enough to follow your soul, even when your mind is full of doubt. What stands in the way? Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of losing approval. But Wilde reminds us, these fears are like smoke. They look big, but they're not solid. You can walk through them. On the other side is a life that's truer, more aligned, more alive. Here's a reflection. Ask yourself, where in my life am I playing small? Where am I holding back just to fit in or stay safe? Then ask, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Write it down. Say it out loud. Feel it in your body. Even the act of naming your next bold step begins to weaken the fear around it. A small shift creates big change. You don't have to leap off a cliff. You just need to take one brave step. Today, speak up, apply, decline, try, begin. That's how you build courage, one decision at a time. One last thought. The world needs more people who are fully alive. People who aren't afraid to go beyond the surface, beyond the rules, beyond what they've been told they can be. That's you. You've already started. You're listening. You're awakening. The courage is already in you. So that's step 3, the courage to go beyond. Don't wait until you feel fearless. Just begin even with trembling hands. Because the life you want, the freedom, the peace, the power, it's not behind you. It's just beyond. So far, we've taken 3 powerful steps with Stuart Wilde. We've awakened to our divine nature, expanded our awareness, and found the courage to go beyond our limits. Now we come to step 4. Accept Spirit as your inner guide. Let's sit with that for a moment. Spirit as your inner guide. What does that mean? It means trusting the quiet voice inside. You've heard it before. That gentle tug in your heart. That whisper in the back of your mind that says, "This doesn't feel right." Or, "Go this way instead." That's Spirit speaking, not in thunder, not in flashing signs, but in stillness, in nudges, in knowing. We all have 2 voices inside. The voice of the ego, which is loud, anxious, and always wants proof, and the voice of the Spirit, which is calm, patient, and doesn't argue. Wilde tells us, if we want to live with power and peace, we must choose which voice we listen to. And that means slowing down, because Spirit doesn't compete for attention. It waits for silence. Here's a simple truth. Your spirit always knows the way. It knows what's true for you. It knows when you're off track. It knows when it's time to move, to pause, or to grow. But most of us have been trained to ignore it. We look outside for answers, asking friends, Googling everything, following trends. But Wilde says the real GPS is already inside you. You just have to trust it. What does trust look like? It looks like making a decision that feels right, even when it doesn't make logical sense. It looks like walking away from a situation that drains you, even when others don't understand. It looks like following joy, even if it's not practical on paper. Here's an example. Imagine you're offered a high-paying job, but something inside you feels tight, uneasy. And then there's another option, a smaller job, maybe even a bit uncertain, but when you think about it, you feel light, open, peaceful. That's not just emotion. That's inner guidance. Your spirit knows which path aligns with your soul, even before your brain catches up. So how do you connect with spirit? It's simpler than you think. Take quiet walks, sit with a cup of tea, and just be. Journal your thoughts. Ask questions and listen for gentle answers. Over time, you'll begin to sense that inner nudge more clearly and more often. But here's the key. You have to be willing to follow it, even when it's inconvenient, even when it challenges what others expect, even when it asks you to let go of control. Because every time you listen, you build trust. And that trust, it leads to freedom. A final thought. You are not alone. You are never without guidance. That still, small voice inside you is your truest compass. It won't scream. It won't demand. But it will always lead you home. So that's step 4. Accept spirit as your inner guide. You don't have to force it. Just be open. Be quiet. Be willing to listen. And slowly, you'll discover something amazing. You've always known the way. In the last chapter, we talk about trusting the quiet inner voice, your spirit, as your guide. Today, in step 5 of Infinite Self, Stuart Wilde brings us something a little uncomfortable, yet incredibly powerful. The chapter is called Use Negativity as a Teacher. Now pause for a second. Think about what we usually do with negativity. We fight it. We hide it. We run from it. Or we let it control us. But what if we could learn from it instead? Negativity isn't the enemy. Wilde teaches that negative emotions, like anger, fear, sadness, or jealousy, aren't bad. They're messages. They show us where we're hurting, where we're out of alignment, where we're giving away our power. They're not trying to break us. They're trying to wake us. Let's look at an example. You feel angry when someone talks down to you. Instead of just reacting or stewing in the anger, ask, why does this trigger me? What is this emotion trying to show me? Maybe it reveals an old wound from childhood. Maybe it shows you haven't been standing up for yourself. Maybe it's simply a reminder of what you value, respect. Now, instead of being consumed by anger, you've learned something from it. Wilde's perspective is clear. Negativity isn't a curse. It's a compass, but only if you're willing to look deeper. Most people either suppress negativity or explode because of it. Both responses block growth. Instead, Wilde says, observe it, understand it, then release it. This requires emotional honesty. You don't have to pretend to be happy all the time. You don't have to fake positivity. What you can do is stay curious. When a negative emotion shows up, don't say, ugh, why am I like this? Instead, say, what's this really about? That little shift turns pain into power. Here's a simple practice. Next time you feel upset, try this. Stop and name the emotion. Ask where in your body you feel it. Breathe into that space. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? You might be surprised by the wisdom that rises up. And don't forget, other people's negativity is a teacher too. If someone constantly complains or brings you down, ask, why am I letting this affect me? Is there something I need to change, speak, or let go of? People are mirrors. They reflect what's unresolved inside us, but they also reveal how far we've come. When someone's negativity no longer triggers you, that's growth. A final thought, negativity isn't fun, but it's part of the human journey. And Wilde reminds us, you're not here to escape the human experience. You're here to elevate it. When you stop fearing negativity, it loses its grip. When you listen to it, it transforms into guidance. Pain becomes clarity. Frustration becomes fuel. And shadows become light. So that's step 5. Use negativity as a teacher. Don't run from your emotions. Don't fear your dark days. Learn from them. Grow through them. Because your infinite self isn't afraid of the dark. It knows that even in the shadow, there is light waiting to be found. So far in Infinite Self, we've looked inward. We've touched on courage, inner guidance, and learning from our emotions. Now in step 6, Stuart Wilde invites us to go even deeper, to question something that most of us never stop to examine. This chapter is called Break Free from Belief Systems. Sounds simple, but this step, it's a game changer. Beliefs shape our reality. Think of beliefs like invisible glasses. You wear them every day, but you forget they're even there. They color how you see the world, what you think is possible, who you think you are. Some beliefs lift you up, others quietly hold you back. Here's the thing, most beliefs aren't even yours. You picked them up from family, religion, culture, school, social media. Some beliefs were taught to you before you even knew how to talk. Beliefs like, money is evil, I have to work hard to be loved, success is for other people, not me, I'm not good enough, this is just the way life is. Wilde says it's time to challenge those, because until you do, they quietly control your life. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone believes deep down that they're not smart. Maybe they heard it from a teacher, or maybe they were compared to a sibling. Now, every time they face a challenge, an interview, a new skill, an opportunity, they hesitate, not because they can't do it, but because a belief says, why try? You're not smart enough. The belief becomes a limit. But here's the truth. A belief is not a fact. It's just a thought you've repeated over and over. And thoughts can change. So how do we break free? Start with awareness. When you hear a negative thought, pause. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it helping me or holding me back? What would I do if I didn't believe this anymore? Just that act of questioning begins to loosen its grip. Wilde reminds us, most beliefs are like old software. They were installed years ago, and they're full of bugs. To awaken your infinite self, you need to uninstall the old programs and install new ones. Ones that say, I am worthy. I can create a beautiful life. It's safe to grow and change. I choose what I believe now. Try this simple practice. Write down 3 beliefs you have about yourself. Then ask, are these really true? Or are they just old ideas I've outgrown? Then rewrite each one into something empowering. For example, I always mess things up becomes I am learning and I improve every day. It may sound small, but your brain listens, and your reality begins to shift. A final thought. You're not here to live someone else's story. You're not here to follow inherited rules. You're here to write your own truth. Breaking free from old belief systems is like opening a window in a dusty room. Suddenly, the light comes in, the air changes, you feel alive. So that's step 6, break free from belief systems. Don't believe everything you think. Question it, challenge it, replace it with something better. Because when you change your beliefs, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your life. We reach step 7 of Stuart Wilde's Infinite Self. And today, we meet a familiar character. It's with us every day. It worries. It compares. It defends. It wants to look good, even when it doesn't feel good. Yes, we're talking about the ego. This chapter is called Overcome Ego Weakness. Let's begin. So, what is the ego? The ego is the part of you that's built from the outside world. It's your name, your job title, your achievements. It's your image, your pride, your story. Now, none of that is bad. The ego helps you function in the world. But Wilde says, the problem starts when the ego thinks it's the whole story, when it drowns out your spirit, when it needs constant approval, recognition, and control. That's ego weakness. The ego lives in fear. It says things like, what will they think of me? I have to win. I'm not good enough. I need to prove myself. It wants to be right, even when it's miserable. It wants to look strong, even when it's falling apart. But Wilde reminds us, your infinite self is beyond all that. It doesn't need to win. It doesn't care about appearances. It just is calm, clear, free. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone criticizes your work. Your ego immediately flares up. You feel defensive, maybe angry, maybe crushed. But pause. Ask yourself, is this really a threat or just my ego reacting? Your infinite self doesn't take things personally. It sees feedback as information, not as an attack. When you shift from ego to spirit, you move from reaction to response, from drama to clarity. Overcoming ego weakness doesn't mean destroying the ego. It means putting it in the right place. Let the ego serve your soul, not control it. Instead of living from fear, live from truth. Instead of needing to look important, focus on being real. Instead of trying to impress others, impress yourself by being authentic. Here's a simple practice. Next time you feel triggered, hurt, offended, judged, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this my spirit speaking or my ego reacting? Just that one question brings awareness. And awareness is the beginning of freedom. The ego is loud. The spirit is quiet. The ego says, what do they think of me? The spirit asks, what do I think of myself? The ego chases approval. The spirit moves in peace. The ego wants to be right. The spirit wants to understand. Wilde's message is clear. The more you choose spirit, the more the ego loses its grip, and you begin to live from a place of deep, unshakable power. A final thought. You are not your image. You are not your resume. You are not your past or your mistakes or your status. You are something much greater. You are an infinite being, temporarily wearing a human costume. The ego is the costume, but you are the light underneath. So that's step 7, overcome ego weakness. Let the ego soften. Let the need to prove fade away. And let your true self, calm, kind, eternal, lead the way. Now, we move into step 8 of Stuart Wilde's Infinite Self. This chapter has a quiet, humbling truth to it, and it's called See Masters as Ordinary People Who Understand the Energy. Let's explore what that really means. We tend to put spiritual masters on pedestals. You know, the image, robes, deep voices, glowing auras, as if they were born more special, more wise, more spiritual than the rest of us. But Wilde says, that's just a myth. The truth is, masters are just regular people, just like you and me, who learned how to work with energy. That's it. They learn to stay calm when things get noisy, to listen when others panic, to act from inner power, not ego. You don't have to be a monk to be a master. You can be a gardener, a teacher, a mechanic, a single parent. Anyone, anywhere, can live with mastery. Because mastery isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having the energy to respond wisely. Masters understand the invisible forces around us. The flow of emotion, intention, fear, love, and vibration. They know when you shift your energy, your whole world shifts with it. Let's take a simple example. You walk into a room and someone is upset. The energy feels heavy, tense. Now, if you react with more tension, it escalates. But if you stay calm, grounded, kind, you become the balancing force. That's energy mastery. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. But it's powerful. Wilde says mastery is a choice. Not something you earn. Not something others give you. It's a moment-by-moment decision to stay aligned, to respond instead of react, to listen deeply, and to own your energy. Here's a practice to try. When you feel scattered or upset, pause and ask yourself, what energy am I putting out right now? Is it helping or hurting the situation? How would a calm, grounded master act right now? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware. Each time you shift into presence, you build the habit of mastery, a powerful reminder. Spiritual masters don't walk around trying to impress people. They're not loud. They don't need to be right. They don't act like they've arrived. They're humble, clear, and deeply present. Wilde says they simply understand energy. They've stopped fighting the current of life, and instead they flow with it. That's what makes them feel peaceful. That's what makes them seem wise. And that same path is available to you. A final thought. There are no chosen ones. There are only people who choose to live awake. You don't need to be a guru. You don't need special powers. You just need willingness, awareness, and the courage to live from your center. Because the true master isn't someone far away. It's the real you beneath the noise. So that's step 8. See masters as ordinary people who understand the energy. Don't idolize. Don't copy. Instead, learn to feel the energy around you and within you, and become the master of your own space. We've traveled through deep inner territory so far, from awakening your divine nature, to mastering your energy, to seeing greatness in the ordinary. And now, in step 9, Stuart Wilde brings us back to something timeless and foundational. It's called Develop Discipline. This chapter might not sound as mystical as the others, but make no mistake, discipline is spiritual. Let's explore why. Most people misunderstand discipline. We hear the word and think, harsh routines, strict rules, forcing yourself to suffer. But Wilde offers a different view. To him, discipline isn't punishment, it's power. It's the structure that gives your spirit the freedom to soar. Think of discipline like a strong spine. Without it, your energy wobbles, your focus scatters. You drift, react, get pulled in 100 directions. But with it, you become clear, steady, calm. You move with purpose instead of pressure. Discipline is what anchors your infinite self into action. So, what does discipline look like in everyday life? It's the choice to wake up early, even when your bed feels cozy. Meditate, even when your mind resists. Speak kindly, even when you're angry. Work on your dream, even when no one's watching. It's choosing what matters most over what's easiest right now. Not because you have to, but because your higher self wants to. Here's the truth Wilde shares. Your ego is lazy. It wants shortcuts, praise, and comfort. But your infinite self, it's committed to growth. And growth requires rhythm, focus, discipline. It doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up even when it's inconvenient. Try the simple practice. Choose one small discipline today. Something meaningful but doable. Maybe it's 10 minutes of silence. Drinking water before coffee. Writing one honest paragraph in your journal. Do it not out of guilt, but out of respect for yourself. Because every act of discipline says, I care about my energy. I care about my path. I choose to show up for me. Discipline builds self-trust. The more you keep your promises to yourself, the more your confidence grows. You stop needing outside approval. You stop making excuses. You simply become someone you can rely on. And that's powerful. Because when life gets chaotic, and it will, discipline keeps you rooted in your center. A final thought. Discipline isn't about controlling life. It's about organizing your energy so life flows more smoothly through you. It's how you translate inner wisdom into outer reality. You don't need a strict schedule. You just need consistency. A steady rhythm that supports your spirit. So that's step 9, develop discipline. Let it be gentle. Let it be real. And let it guide you toward the life your soul is calling for. Now we reach step 10 in Infinite Self, a chapter that invites us to let go and trust something deeper. Stuart Wilde calls this step surrender to the energy. Now, let's be honest. The word surrender can sound scary. We think it means giving up, losing control, becoming passive. But Wilde shows us that true surrender is not weakness, it's strength. It's the wisdom to flow with life instead of fighting it. Let's explore what this really means. There is an energy running through everything. Call it God, the universe, source, spirit, or just life itself. This energy is intelligent. It moves with rhythm, purpose, and love. It grows trees. It beats your heart. It brings people together and pulls things apart. It's always guiding, if we're willing to listen. Surrendering to this energy means trusting the flow instead of constantly resisting it. We often try to control everything. We plan, we push, we cling to how we think things should be. But Wilde says, control is an illusion, and the more we try to force life, the more exhausted and disconnected we feel. Surrender is the moment we say, I don't know exactly how this will unfold, but I trust the energy that guides it. And in that moment, we relax. We breathe, and something beautiful happens. We begin to move with life, not against it. Here's an example. You're working hard toward a goal, maybe a new career or a relationship. You've done your part. You've shown up. But now, nothing's happening. The ego panics. What if I fail? The mind spins. I need to do more, push harder. But surrender says, I trust the timing. I trust the unfolding. I've planted the seed. Now let it grow. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your part and releasing the rest. Surrender also means letting go of resistance. Sometimes the energy is guiding you in a new direction, but fear holds you back. You feel stuck, uncertain, maybe even frustrated. But ask yourself, what am I resisting? Where's life asking me to shift, to soften, or to release? The answers will come, not through struggle, but through silence. Try this simple practice. Sit quietly for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, I surrender. I trust the energy that guides me. I let go of what no longer serves me. I open to what wants to emerge. Let the words sink in. Let your body relax. You might feel lighter, more spacious, more at peace. That's the power of surrender. A final thought. Surrender isn't about giving up your dreams. It's about co-creating with a higher intelligence. It's understanding that your life isn't random. It's a sacred unfolding. The more you resist, the more it hurts. But the more you trust, the more life begins to carry you. With ease, with grace, with power. So that's step 10. Surrender to the energy. Breathe. Trust. Let go. You're not alone in this journey. You're always being guided by a force that knows exactly where you're meant to be. We've journeyed through awareness, surrender, courage, and spiritual power. And now, in step 11 of Infinite Self, Stuart Wilde invites us to do something surprising, to laugh. Yes, this step is called. See the humor in it all. Let's take a deep breath and lighten the load. Spirituality can get heavy. We search, strive, heal, let go. We meditate. We journal. We try to be better. But Wilde reminds us, if you forget to laugh, you're missing the point. Because life isn't just about growth and discipline. It's also weird, messy, unpredictable, and often hilarious when you can laugh at yourself. When you can smile in the middle of chaos. You're free. Why is humor so powerful? Because it breaks tension. It brings perspective. It instantly shifts energy. Wilde says, humor lifts you out of ego and brings you closer to spirit. Think about it. The ego takes everything seriously. It's dramatic, easily offended, obsessed with image. But the spirit? The spirit knows this is all just a game. A beautiful, strange, mysterious game. And when you can laugh at the game, even just a little, you rise above it. Here's a simple example. You spill coffee on your shirt right before a big meeting. The ego screams, "Ugh, what will they think? You look ridiculous." The spirit shrugs and says, "Well, now you're just a coffee-scented guru." You can either spiral into frustration or laugh, shrug it off, and move on with joy. It's your choice. And that moment of humor? That's alignment. Wilde often joked about spiritual people. He said many of them look serious, walk slowly, and act like they're floating above the ground. But real spiritual power doesn't look like that. It looks like lightness, ease, playfulness. Enlightenment isn't about being intense. It's about being free. Free to laugh at yourself. Free to enjoy the ride. Try this practice. Next time you're overwhelmed, pause and ask, is this really that serious? Can I zoom out and find the humor here? Will this still matter in a year or even next week? Most of the time, the answer is no. And that little bit of laughter, that chuckle or smile, can clear your mind faster than any technique. A final thought. The universe doesn't want you stressed out. It doesn't need you to be perfect. It just wants you awake. And sometimes laughter is the fastest way to wake up. So be kind to yourself. Be silly sometimes. Laugh at your ego. Laugh at your plans. Laugh at how life always surprises you. Because when you can laugh, you stepped outside the story and stepped into your infinite self. So that's step 11. See the humor in it all. Let your seriousness melt away. Smile at the madness of it all. And remember, if you can laugh, you're already free. So far, we've walked through inner courage, surrender, lightness, and laughter. We've explored the strength of discipline and the freedom of letting go. Now in step 12 of Infinite Self, Stuart Wilde takes us to a place most people try to avoid. It's called get comfortable with the unknown. Let's pause for a second. Just the word unknown can make the mind tighten, right? But what if the unknown isn't something to fear? What if it's something to trust? The unknown is where your spirit lives. It's the space beyond control, beyond logic, beyond the plans you've made. The unknown is a field of pure potential. It's where miracles happen. It's where growth begins. It's where the old dissolves and the new takes shape. But to reach it, you must be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And that takes trust. Most of us fear the unknown because we think safety lives in certainty. We want answers, timelines, guarantees. But Wilde gently reminds us, certainty is an illusion. Even when we think we have everything figured out, life changes. A job ends. A relationship shifts. An idea fails. And suddenly, we're face to face with mystery again. But here's the secret. The unknown isn't chaos. It's creation. Think about nature. A seed doesn't know exactly how it will grow. It doesn't need a step-by-step manual. It just surrenders to the process, trusting the soil, the sun, the water, and the pull of life. You are that seed. Your path will unfold, but only if you're willing to be in that space where the next step hasn't appeared yet. Here's an example. Imagine you've left something behind, a job, a routine, a version of yourself. You're in between. The old is gone. The new hasn't arrived. It's quiet, uncertain, uncomfortable. But this in-between space, it's sacred. It's where the next version of you is forming. If you rush to fill the gap too quickly, you might miss what's truly meant for you. Try this practice. Close your eyes for a moment. Say to yourself, it's okay that I don't know. I don't need all the answers right now. I trust the unfolding. Feel the tension in your body soften. That's the power of surrendering to the unknown. A final thought. Your ego wants certainty. Your infinite self thrives in the unknown, because the unknown is where life meets you, where synchronicities find you, where intuition leads you, and where spirit speaks. So instead of fearing what's unclear, welcome it, sit with it, be curious. You're not lost. You're simply in the space between the chapters. So that's step 12. Get comfortable with the unknown. Let go of the need to control. Rest in the mystery. And trust that something beautiful is already on its way to you. So far in Infinite Self, we've walked a path of inner awareness, surrender, discipline, and flow. And now, in step 13, Stuart Wilde asks us to let go of something that often clutters our journey, the spiritual jargon. This chapter is titled, Drop the Jargon. Let's dive into what that really means. Language is powerful, but it can also be misleading. Wilde says that sometimes, in our desire to grow spiritually, we start speaking in complicated terms. We talk about chakras opening, aligning vibrations, ascending dimensions, energy portals, and so on. Now, there's nothing wrong with those words. They can point to real experiences. But here's the problem. The words can become a mask. Instead of living spiritually, we end up sounding spiritual. And that's not the same thing. Wilde reminds us, real spiritual growth is simple. It's about being kind, being present, being real. You don't need fancy words to describe that. You just need honesty. The truth doesn't need decoration. Think of it this way. A flower doesn't need to explain photosynthesis to bloom. It just blooms. In the same way, you don't need to explain your spiritual progress. You just need to live it. Be calm in chaos. Be compassionate when it's hard. Be silent when the world is loud. That's real spirituality. And no jargon is required. Sometimes spiritual jargon becomes a way to hide. We use it to sound advanced or important, or to distance ourselves from others. But Wilde says, true mastery is humble. It's not interested in sounding superior. It just is. When you drop the jargon, you return to clarity, to simplicity, to truth. Try this practice. The next time you're speaking about your journey, whether it's in your journal, a conversation, or your own thoughts, ask yourself, am I being clear or just trying to sound deep? Am I describing what I feel or hiding behind words? And then say it simply, instead of, my crown chakra feels out of alignment. Try, I feel disconnected from something bigger than me. Instead of, I need to raise my frequency. Try, I want to feel more calm and kind today. Clarity is a sign of inner alignment. A final thought, you don't need to impress anyone, not even yourself. Spirituality isn't a performance. It's a quiet unfolding. The more honest and simple your words become, the more power they carry. Because when you drop the jargon, you speak from the heart, not the script. So that's step 13. Drop the jargon. Speak clearly. Live truthfully. And remember, your light doesn't need fancy words to shine. In our last episode, Stuart Wilde reminded us to drop the jargon, to stop hiding behind complex words, and just live simply, truthfully, and clearly. Now, in step 14 of Infinite Self, Wilde offers us something profound, a step that can completely shift how we see ourselves. This chapter is called, Know That You Are the Power. Let's take a breath and begin. Most people look outside themselves for power. We chase approval. We follow authority. We rely on systems, beliefs, and even other people to give us a sense of strength. But Wilde says, the real power is already inside you. You don't need to go find it. You need to remember it. You are not weak. You've just been trained to forget your strength. From childhood, we're told, do what you're told. Don't speak too loudly. Play it safe. Let someone else decide. Over time, we start believing we're powerless. But that's just conditioning. Your infinite self knows better. It knows that you are the creator of your experience, that your energy, your thoughts, and your choices shape your reality. Think of power like a flame inside you. It doesn't come from ego. It's not about being forceful or dominant. It's quiet, grounded, unshakable. It's the knowing that says, I am enough. I can choose my path. I don't need to wait for permission. That's true power. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're in a difficult situation, maybe a breakup, a job loss, or a moment of uncertainty. It's easy to feel like a victim, to ask, why is this happening to me? But Wilde says, shift the question. Ask instead, what power do I still have? What can I choose now? Because even when life feels out of control, you still have the power to choose your response. And that changes everything. Try this simple practice. Right now, place your hand on your chest. Breathe slowly and say quietly to yourself, I am the power in my life. I am not waiting, I am creating. Everything I need is already within me. Feel those words, not just as a thought, but as a truth, because when you really know this, you stop begging life to save you. You rise and you begin to lead yourself. A final thought, you don't need to become powerful. You already are. You've just forgotten. But every step you've taken, every time you've paused, reflected, chosen peace, has been leading you back to this realization. You are the power, not your job, not your reputation, not your bank account. You, the one listening right now, the one choosing to grow. You are powerful because you remember that you are infinite. So that's step 14. Know that you are the power. Stop waiting. Start leading. And remember, your power was never out there. It's been in you all along. Now we step into step 15 of Stuart Wilde's Infinite Self. And this one invites us to look beyond the surface of life, to explore something deeper than what we can touch, see, or explain. It's called Live Totally Beyond the Physical. Let's begin. Most of us live by what we can see. The body, the bank balance, the job title, the mirror, the screen, the daily routine. But Wilde says, there's far more to life than just the physical world. In fact, the most powerful part of you is invisible. It's not your body, not your name, not your possessions or problems. It's your infinite self, the eternal awareness behind it all. Imagine an iceberg. What you see above the surface is small, but beneath the water is something vast. That's you. The physical world is just the tip. The real you, your soul, your essence, your energy, lives beneath the surface, quiet and immense. Living beyond the physical means learning to tune into that space. So how do we do that? It starts by shifting our attention inward. The body gets tired. The mind gets noisy. The outside world constantly changes. But there's a part of you that never changes. The stillness behind your thoughts. The quiet observer behind your emotions. The calm awareness that watches it all unfold. That's the part of you Wilde wants you to live from. Try this now. Close your eyes just for a few seconds. Take a deep breath and notice the space between your thoughts. That space, that stillness, that's you, not the face you show the world, not the role you play, but the presence underneath it all. The deeper you connect to that space, the less control the physical world has over you. Wilde reminds us, living beyond the physical doesn't mean rejecting the material. It means not clinging to it. Enjoy your body. Enjoy your home, your car, your food, but don't define yourself by them. Because when your peace depends on things outside of you, you're always at risk of losing it. But when your peace comes from within, from that infinite space, you become unshakable. Here's a helpful perspective. Say you're going through something hard. Maybe you lost something or someone. Maybe your plans fell apart. The physical world tells you, this is terrible. But your infinite self whispers, this is temporary. Keep going. When you live beyond the physical, you don't ignore pain. You just see it differently. You move through it with grace instead of fear. Wilde says this shift is key to freedom. The body ages. Circumstances change. People come and go. But your essence, your energy, your consciousness doesn't age. It just is. Peaceful, timeless. Oh, living from that awareness doesn't make you float away from life. It actually helps you live it more fully, without fear, without clinging, without resistance. A final thought. You're not here to just survive in the physical world. You're here to awaken in it, to move through the world with softness, but not attachment, to participate without being imprisoned, to walk through this life knowing, I am more than this body. I am more than this story. I am infinite. And when you live from that place, you stop chasing the surface and start experiencing the depth. So that's step 15. Live totally beyond the physical. Enjoy the world. Use your senses. Be present here and now. But remember, you are so much more. So far, we've been uncovering layers of who we are, learning to live from a deeper awareness, beyond ego, beyond surface. And in the last step, we were reminded that we are more than the physical body. Now, in step 16 of Infinite Self, Stuart Wilde invites us to take that awareness one step further. This chapter is called Connect with the God Force Within You. Let's breathe into this one, because it's not about religion, it's about reconnection. Wilde speaks of the God Force not as a distant being, but as a living presence. Inside you, this divine force isn't locked in a temple or floating in the sky. It's not limited by dogma, names, or rituals. It is the quiet power behind life itself. The energy that breathes your lungs, that grows forests, that moves planets through space. And most importantly, it flows through you. You are not separate from it. You are an expression of it. But here's the thing. Most of us have forgotten this connection. We've been taught to look outside ourselves, to beg for guidance, to wait for signs, to feel small in the presence of something greater. But Wilde says that greatness isn't outside. It's within you, always has been. And when you reconnect with that force, you stop living like a servant of life and start living as a co-creator of it. So how do you connect with the God Force? Not by chanting the right words, not by pleasing anyone, not by being perfect. You connect by becoming still, by listening deeply, by turning down the noise of the world and tuning into the energy within. It's subtle, but it's real. It's the part of you that already knows, that already trusts, that already feels aligned, even when the mind feels lost. Here's a simple practice. Sit quietly, no distractions. Place your hand over your heart and say softly, I am connected. I am not alone. The force of life moves through me. I am part of it. I am one with it. Feel it, not as a belief, but as a quiet remembering. Because deep down, you've always known this. Wilde reminds us, when you're connected to the God Force, you walk differently. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing loss. You stop pretending. Instead, you live with quiet certainty. You speak with clarity. You give generously, because you know you are never empty. Let's take an example. Imagine you're facing a big decision. Your mind is spinning. Your ego is anxious. You feel torn. In that moment, instead of trying to figure it all out, pause. Place your awareness inward. Ask, what would the divine in me choose right now? What feels aligned not just in logic, but in truth? That voice, soft and clear. That's your connection to the God Force. A final thought. You don't have to search for divinity. You don't have to earn it. You are it. The light you're looking for, it's not out there. It's shining through you right now. And the more you align with that light, the more your life begins to feel miraculous. Not because the world changed, but because you remembered who you truly are. So that's step 16. Connect with the God Force within you. You are not separate. You are not lost. You are not powerless. You are connected. You are guided. And you are divine. Thank you for listening to Book Insights. If you like the insights of this book, please subscribe our channel Book Insights. In the next episode, we'll explore step 17. Dare to transcend group consciousness. Until then, sit quietly, walk boldly, and let the God Force within you guide every step. Book Insights. Build your wisdom.